Hello and howdy everyone. I'm here to talk about G.I. Joe Retaliation. And I don't really want to talk about it. I feel like it's going to take far more energy to talk about this movie than it took to watch it and to think about it. I did not enjoy it, pretty much in the least. It's probably one of the worst movies I've seen in some time, especially for big budget studio, Hollywood studio, action summer tentpole that, you think of G.I. Joe to be, a special effects extravaganza, actually it's going to replace. When I think of a bad movie, when someone says, hey, tell me what a bad movie is, the first thing I think of is Wolverine, or what was it? X-Men Origins Wolverine. What was that? X-Men 4, I believe. For me, for my money, that was the worst movie in some time. And now I think I have a new watermark. Now I can forget about Origins. And now when someone says, hey, what's a bad movie? I'm going to say G.I. Joe Retaliation. And I'd also like to point out, I think I'm going to give the movie a 2, maybe a 3. Basically, there's only one thing I liked, and that was Cobra Commander. One thing I did not enjoy about the first G.I. Joe movie was that Cobra Commander, I think it's so funny to say that all of my criticisms today are mostly going to be, sound like fanboy, and I swear that I'm not a G.I. Joe fanboy, but I don't know, maybe I am. I did grow up, with the toys and the cartoon. My childhood, notwithstanding Star Wars, Star Wars is kind of like at another level, but my childhood was basically He-Man and G.I. Joe. I don't know, maybe they had like a solid hour block after school or something, but I had all the toys of He-Man, I had all the toys of G.I. Joe, I never missed their shows. I went to their animated movies in the theater. I remember that specifically, seeing both those films in the theater. So maybe I am slightly a G.I. Joe fanboy. It's not like I was excited when the movie came out. I was like, okay, sure, I'll go see that. It's G.I. Joe, for God's sakes. A part of my childhood. But, one thing I did not enjoy about the first G.I. Joe was Cobra Commander and his, I guess we get to see his evolution and how he came to be, but I did not enjoy how he did not look like Cobra Commander. And now here we have Cobra Commander in his, full glory. And I enjoyed that. I thought, wow, Cobra Commander looks really cool. But that's about the only complimentary thing I can think of. Really, I do have a disclaimer that I feel that I need to mention. And it's becoming more and more relevant as we're basing movies on inanimate objects. But I have this rule, theory, whatever you want to call it. If you're watching a film and one of the first credits to come up, as with this, based on the Hasbro toy line, if you're watching a movie that says that, I also think of Battleship recently that was based on a board game. If you watch the movie, if you participate in watching that movie, past based on the Hasbro toy line, then you cannot complain. You have no right to complain because the only competition is your imagination. I could have flown home to my parents and gotten out my G.I. Joe figures, packed away somewhere in a box, and I could have held these inanimate pieces of plastic in my hand and come up with some spectacular adventure, like I used to. It's competition. This movie's competition is your imagination. So if you throw in the towel and go, okay, I don't need to imagine anything, I'll let you do my imagining for me, then you don't really get to complain. And so this kind of nullifies everything I'm about to say, because I just want to complain. You know, I wished that I had my toys, and I could, even if they were like in a plastic, you know, box, I could still like stare at them and imagine them doing something, and it would have been far superior to G.I. Joe Retaliation. I didn't enjoy this film. As a disclaimer, another disclaimer, I was very drunk. You know, I knew that this was going to be not good. I didn't think it was going to be that bad. But I was very drunk when I watched this, and this is really all I can say about this film is, and I'm going to exaggerate the first part. You know, when I started watching the film, you know, I was just like, oh, you know, excited, you know, oh, you know, what are we going to do with G.I. Joe? By the end of the film, you know, at the climax of the film, I had felt like my will to live had been sucked out of me. You know, I kept on getting this visual image. I'm no Harry Potter expert. I can't even call myself a Harry Potter fan, but I believe they're called Death Eaters. This is a Death Eater. You know, I believe it's the cloaked figure that, you know, swoops down from the sky and like sucks your soul out, you know, your essence from your face or whatever. That's what this movie does. You know, it like zooms into your face and like sucks your soul as it tries to leave. That's what it felt like. You know, that was the image I kept on getting in my brain, was my you know, spirit being taken out from my face by the Death Eater of G.I. Joe Retaliation. By the end, I was just like, ugh. Just end, please be over. You know, I want to go to bed. You know, I want sleep is preferable. Please. You know, I don't really know what else to say. It makes no sense. I did get, you know, that's why I'm saying that maybe I could bump it up to a 3, because I did have some fun. You know, I laughed at the movie, not with the movie. So I guess there is some enjoyment factor there. But recently I saw Sharknado, you know, which is about a tornado made of sharks. And it was infinitely preferable to this film. You know, I gave Sharknado a 3, maybe bump it up to 4, where I have to give G.I. Joe a 2 and maybe bump it up to 3. And I mean maybe. The acting is really bad. I mean, it's not terrible. It's just that they don't do anything. If you want to be in G.I. Joe 3, you know, practice this. All the acting was in this movie. 1, okay, sure, you have your action sequences, your fights, and everyone's in like intense action mode while doing that. And that's okay, so you got to do that. You got to be, you know, intense action, whatever. I could possibly die, you know, but I'm going to maybe kill this guy before I do. So you got to be able to do that. And the only other emotion that you have to exhibit to be in a G.I. Joe movie is, did you just say that? Huh? Did I just say that? Yeah, I did. That's it. You get those 2 emotions down, you're guaranteed a role in G.I. Joe 3. That's pretty much all you got to do. That's really all The Rock does here. The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, is the main star, and I thought it was so funny how I recently watched Pain and Gain, and something else with him that I was just impressed how far he's come with his acting ability and talent. You know, from just giving the people's eyebrow to now creating fully formed characters. Boy, this set him back. But I never blame the actors. I never blame the actors. It's the director's responsibility to get, a subtle, nuanced performance of different emotions out of the actor. And I don't know, the director, who sounds familiar, John M. Chu. See, that name really sounds familiar. I'm not sure from where. But I don't know. I guess he was basically happy with anything that he saw. Because all The Rock does is say something clever or hear something clever and then go, and that's pretty much it for, an hour and 40 minutes? So I think, that's pretty much all you have to do to be in a G.I. Joe movie is get those two emotions down. Also, Bruce Willis is in this film. He also brought me another source of enjoyment. Bruce Willis is always good. I enjoy Bruce Willis. I think even when he's in a bad movie, he's doing something at least entertaining, kicks it up, a notch at least. Here, I was amused by him because he never stops moving. It's like, okay, I'm in a bad movie, and it's like he told the director, I know my scenes, or I know my lines, I know the scene, I know what's going on. Don't tell me how to block. I'm going to do my own blocking. You be responsible. You take the camera and you try and get me as I'm, going to be in your movie for, brief moments. He seriously never stops moving. It's like, all right, I know my lines. I'm walking in the scene. Now I'm saying my line, and now I'm walking out, and now I'm gone. And it just kept on. That was his role. I just went, oh, there's Bruce Willis. There goes Bruce Willis. And that's it. And it's like he knew, that he should not be in this movie. This movie, what also gets me is that this movie got taken off the shelf. It was, I think I've originally saw this preview, and I was really trying to remember. I think it was before Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, which seems like it came out forever ago. They had a trailer for G.I. Joe Retaliation, and it was like going to come out that next summer. It was big. Well, it got pulled out. It got held back. When that happens, the studio likes to say, oh, that's, the market's too crowded or what, but really what the matter is the movie is too bad to release. The test audiences butchered it, and, the studio says, hey, we can't put this out. And so they take it off and try and make it better and put it out 6 months later, which is exactly what they did with G.I. Joe Retaliation. Now, I want to see the movie before it was recut. I want to see the original director's vision that was deemed too terrible by the studios, because the finished product is absolutely terrible. And maybe if they had released the original version, maybe it would be something at least tremendously bad, just like historically bad. Now, I don't think this is historically bad. This isn't Jaws 5 or Jaws 4, but this is, bad. Another acting, thing I saw was Channing Tatum. Channing Tatum's in this. I think he's the only returning cast member, maybe besides Storm Shadow. I can't remember who played Storm Shadow in the first one. But Channing Tatum returns briefly in this film. And kind of like Bruce Willis, I think he knew that he was making something horrendous, because he doesn't act. He just stands there. And maybe this was a character choice. I'm making excuses for Channing Tatum, but he's just dead. If you've seen the film, go back and watch his acting. He is dead inside. There is nothing there. And I just kept on laughing. I was like, do something. Show me something. And there was just nothing. His eyes were just empty. And it was just amazing to me that he's supposed to be doing something rather intense or meaningful, and he looks like a fish. He has the emotions of a fish. And I'm like, okay, all right. So it's like the acting is I don't know. Again, I don't blame the actors, but man, I can't think of anything positive to say. I guess the costumes look good. The special effects were good. I enjoyed some of the action sequences, I guess. It seemed like that's what it was. It was just like an extended, series of action sequences that were just held together by paper-thin plots. And I mean, like, after the movie was over, I was just like, what happened? What went on in that movie? I was, like, the next day I was trying to, like, reconstruct the plot in my mind, and I couldn't do it. And I guess I'm going back to my fanboy thing here, but there are two things I definitely didn't enjoy that would be chalked up to fanboy. One, Destro. I suppose, spoiler alert, but Cobra Commander, once he's resurrected and in his full glory, leaves Destro, which I thought to be his like right-hand man, his general, to float in his tank and eventually die, I guess. And I was like, what's that about? Destro's a badass, and now he's not. So that pissed me off. And also Storm Shadow, the Cobra Ninja. Again, spoiler alert, switches sides like a quarter of the way through the movie, like a bitch. And I'm like, so now Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow are on the same team? Pointless. So that very much pissed me off. Let's see, what else did I hate about this movie? Who do I love that's in this? Jonathan Pryce, good actor, and just slogging his way through this. I felt really bad for Jonathan Pryce, that he was stuck in this. We've got a lot of Byung-Hun Lee. Maybe that was Storm Shadow, I can't remember. Or no, that wasn't Storm Shadow. DJ, it's so small, I can't even read it. Ray Park, he was Snake Eyes, I know that. He was Darth Maul, the Headless Horseman. Ray Stevenson, Channing Tatum, Bruce Willis, and Dwayne Johnson. It's so weird because Dwayne Johnson is practically in every scene. He carries the film and he gets billed last. That's weird. Written by Rhett Reese and Paul... I can't even read that. Paul Wernick. Directed by John M. Chu, which for some reason sounds familiar. I guess it's kind of saying something that I'm sitting here rambling for 18 minutes talking about G.I. Joe 2, but I don't know. I don't know what else to say. It just is really kind of amazing to me that I just wish they wouldn't have changed it. I want to know what was the movie before it was changed to this. That's what I want to see. You notice that I didn't offer any type of plot synopsis. I can't remember. I know that it was G.I. Joe versus Cobra, and that Cobra has got the president held hostage, and I can't even remember what their ultimate weapon was right now. I know in the first movie it was like nanobots, but now it was something. I don't know. It doesn't matter. I can't think of anything. I think I hit my big points. It was just very bad. But I guess decent, action sequences. It just felt like I just was done with life after watching this movie, and I don't know what else to say other than that. So there you go. There's G.I. Joe Retaliation. I'll give it a 2. Just because I'm a nice guy, and I don't know, it's definitely the worst movie I've seen in some time. I preferred Green Lantern, I preferred X-Men Origins Wolverine, I preferred Sharknado, and that's enough said. So thank you very much.